Draft day here on the TABC Summer League podcast. Oren, Glickman, and Jack Turell, as always. Jack, we were going back and forth last night. I think there was a point where you were tuning in and then you got booted off. Can you speak?
Yeah, listen, never asked me about my resources, but obviously I'd like to stay well connected, especially when it comes to local rec league basketball. I consider myself the Stephen A. You're definitely the Woj, and Levy is definitely the Shams. So I'm not gonna reveal the sources of how I was able to get onto it, but Stevie Paul quickly put me in my place, followed by Mikey Levy, who was like, "Dude, get off." But I was able to follow the draft intently. Really thrown for a spin there because I remember saying on our pre-draft show, I said, if you're going to draft me, let me know. I want to work with you and let you know about guys I like and who you may not know, and just a breakdown. And this whole time, the rumor mill, Burry Klein was supposed to take Johnny Nolman third, and he took me. And I'm excited to play
Your
with
top
Burry.
three
He
pick.
did a
You got to
great
be
job.
happy with that.
I'm very happy. I'm very honored to be the third pick. I'm very happy to be playing with Burry. It's interesting because I try to recruit Burry to play for my Zion team, and Burry literally said to me on the phone, "Jack, I like the competition. I like to play against you." So the fact that he drafted me, maybe he's ready to team up. So we're ready.
I can see you guys like having dinner together every night now, leading up to
Me
the
and Burry are going to
season.
be best friends. We're cut from the same cloth. We're very similar guys. So I think we're it's going to be a great friendship. You
Yeah.
know,
And
the
Burry's not.
marriage will be great.
Yeah. And Burry's not going to have Isaac Aronoff this year. I'm used to those two being together all the time.
He's not going to have Aronoff. Did Aronoff get picked before he could take him? Because
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Burry did. So we'll give you some draft day drama. Um, obviously when Burry's pick came on the board, um, we had our eyes on a myriad of people. But really it came down to three, and that was Herman, Josh Klein, and Shlomo Mizels, who you guys will know very soon, who's a kid from MTA, and I don't know Herman. I hear great things, but I'm just like, I hear great things, but I know Klein, I know Mizels, and I just kind of laid out the benefits of both of them, and what how great they could be for our team, and what they would add. Josh Klein, obviously, last year was a tremendous player on that
Not
Lakers
my
team.
team.
I call him Joe Amar Light. Like he could just light it up. You can't leave him open. And Mizels is kind of like Jordan Hode light. Like he's a really good point guard. So we laid it out, and Burry traded up. He liked the pitch on Mizels so much that he traded up to get Mizels. So I mean, I don't want to outsell our guy. I like to keep him unknown. You guys will see who he is, or you won't.
Yeah, so why don't we get right into it, and why don't we explain to our viewers that there's 20 teams now this season because the league was in high demand, and now you have 7 on a team instead of 8. So that should make things very interesting. So the first team that we'll review are the Bucks.
Draft grade A+.
What's
So
so funny is it's that whole team again, with they always just have one different player outside the Kelson Weinberger core.
right, that 1 year they had. So
It was 1 year was
first year
Ellie
they had
Lipner.
Moskovich. Last year
Dave
they had
Moskovich
Lipner.
2 years ago, Ellie Lipner last year, and this year it's no on block.
So it's A+ because they kept the core together, and continuity is extremely important. This is a team that went to the second round in a much better
Took
league.
you guys to overtime.
They almost beat the champions. They were the closest team to beating the champions. And if you rewatch the game, it gives me PTSD. I rewatched the game recently.
And I think they had to win their first round playoff game without Alex Kelson, if I recall.
Yes, they did. And I said that there was no way they could, and they did it. And they swapped offense for defense a little bit, and Nolan Block. I think he as much as Lipner fits what they did, I think he was off the board. So in terms of available guys, Nolan Block is the perfect fit to slide into this team. I mean, he's just he's the same. He's cut from the same cloth as the Weinbergers, as the Kelsons. They're an A+ because this is a team that went to the semi. They went to the second round in a league that was much better. I mean, top heavy at the very least. Like me, Jack Reinhart, Maddie, and Gore, and Lifshitz and Nat. You're not seeing that this year. You're not seeing Johnny Nolman, Isaac Merwitz, Josh Klein, Akiva Blumenthal, and Benji. You're not seeing that
Right,
this
because there are more teams now, so there's more variety.
more teams. There's more guys. It's where it is. So this is a team that he was able to keep together that did very well in last year's league.
We had to cut a lot of deals to do it for sure.
Whatever he had to do, they obviously he has the mind of a Rebbe. They got business acumen in the family. They got the Kelsons there. He made it work. This team, draft grade A+.
And I'm hearing rumors this actually, no, not rumors. I spoke to Rabbi Weinberger. He said this might be the last run.
For the Weinbergers?
No, like having this core, he doesn't like to plan too far in advance, but I don't know. Maybe he says it every year. This could be the last go with this group.
I mean, maybe he's trying to do a last dance thing. If there was a last run, it would have been last year because Alex Kelson's value goes through the roof, considering that obviously top level talent is way more valuable. So, when years past where he may have been a late first round pick, he easily was going to go early. And second,
Right, and I guess the fact that this group almost took down the champions, it gave him assurance that he can go another round with these guys.
Yeah, I thought they were great, and now I think they're taking Noah Block was like, what was our weakness last year is a guy who could defend the Masons and the Jack Turells and the Lipners and the Mitnicks and the JJ Zakheim's. Noah Block is a renowned defender. He played our Zion team last week. He guarded me for some plays. He guarded JJ Zakheim for some plays. Now, I'm not saying he stopped us because he didn't, but he certainly made our lives difficult. One of my favorite players to play with, real tough grinder, perfect fit.
I love hearing you refer to yourself in the third person.
Did I do that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just did. No, all good. All right, so A+ for the Bucks. I think I would agree there. Whenever you're able to hold on to your core, and you don't have to redevelop chemistry like the other 19 teams in this league, it's a good thing for sure.
My Jack Turell ranking on the Bucks. Maybe I shouldn't release that. I'll let you release your rankings, but an A+ on terms of drafting, keeping the core together.
Yeah, I don't think we're necessarily there yet for rankings. We probably want to wait till we get closer to the season because unfortunately there could be an injury or two leading up to the season, and that could change the dynamic. Hopefully, we want everyone to be healthy heading into the season, but there's a lot of downtime between now and June, so we'll see how it plays out.
This is really going to make or break the season because if we have a lot of guys who are in their late 20s, early 30s. If you show up, if you spend this time and don't get into shape and you show up out of shape, it's going to show. And if you do show up into shape, that could be the difference between, like, I promise you right now, I may not have the time to do so, but if I was hitting the gym, if I was in full 24-hour fitness mode and I came in perfect, I don't think there's a way we lose a game. And if I come in on the opposite and I'm drinking and vaping and all that, and I come in, we're beatable. And if I come in neutral, I think we have a chance at winning it. But and I think that goes for everyone. Like that's just a parable for anyone. Meaning, like, if player X, player Y, player Z comes in the best possible shape, like the Warriors are really good. I know we'll get to them, but depending on how people come into shape is going to really matter.
Yeah. So now we're going to move on to the next team. We got the Bulls. Matty Reinhart is sporting red again. So Matty Reinhart, with his first pick, he took his brother Jack, which I think a lot of people expected. He also has his other brother Michael, along with House and Bookbinder. And I'll actually give people a little bit of a window into the draft. Full disclosure, I'm an advisor this year to the team Pelicans, Weisberg. And we were right after Matty Reinhart, and Matty Reinhart took Bookbinder. And we just had to go right back to the drawing board with so little time on the clock. It was maddening. So kudos to Matty Reinhart for beating us to the punch there.
Yeah. I love the Reinhardts as guys. I love playing with them. I try to get them to play with me every season in Zion. They did. They took Rabinovich, who rumor has it doesn't show up. That's what I heard around the corner. Look, they have a lot of length.
Kleinhaus is a very good defender,
Yeah, but let's just be real. This is a significant step down from the team they had last year.
Yes.
They had a team that rolled it out. Obviously, Jack, you can't rule out Jack Reinhardt and Matt Reinhardt in anything they do. They are really, really good. Jack won actually the Upper West Side League in the spring, but he was playing with Aryeh Halpert and Judah Oppenheimer and Noah Rossi. So that's a really good big four. This isn't that. I think it's
if I recall though, you liked Bookbinder on that Pacers team last year, and they were the worst team in the league.
I loved Bookbinder on that Pacers team. I thought he was good, long. They have length. I just think it's my take on this team. I'm gonna give him a B.
A B.
I think you could have gotten Jack Reinhardt instead, kept your 7th pick and gotten, maybe even a better third rounder or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it seems like there were a lot of captains who were determined to not lose their siblings at all costs.
Look, and that's fine. Jack is worth the first pick for sure, but you probably could have gotten him at 7 because, as we know, is Zevi Salmon going 8th.
That's still stunning to me.
People are only drafting for, I don't know, to hang with their boys, to get touches. I don't know, but meaning, unless Jack Reinhardt was best friends with one of the 1 through 7, and he isn't. I don't think he would have gone there, but I think it's going to be a lot on Jack R offensively this season. Michael Reinhardt could shoot, but he's a kid. So Kleinhaus could shoot, but he's not and Bookbinder, it's going to be a lot on Jack R's plate this season. Can he do it? I have faith in him, but he's going to be a lot on his plate. And no size. I mean, Matt Reinhardt and Jack both have length, but when you start to fit, they're in the East. They have to place both Langer and Herman.
Yeah, have to play the Pistons.
Nick and Moskovich.
Well, actually, no. I think because there's 10 teams in each conference and there are 8 regular season games, you dodge 2 teams in your division. So maybe
they better pray to Hashem and wrap the filling all week. They don't have to face Mitnick, Moskovich, or Langer Herman. Those are 2 big guys. I think actually Jack would do a decent job on Langer and Herman, but I think the Mitnick Moskovich is going to be hard for that duo.
Right.
But again, It's only one team that they'd have to play. They just have to hope to avoid them.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I mean, granted, the championship team from last year is broken up, but you do have that captain and one of the stars, so you still can't count out this team at the end of the day.
No, they're the reigning champs. They have again with Bookbinder, Matt, and Jack, and Kleinhaus. You have a 4-out defensive lockdown lineup. They have an identity clearly. They could win. They could. I wouldn't want to face them in a playoff game. I definitely wouldn't. They're like a lot like they're going to be a scrappy good team. They are.
Yeah.
So but because they don't have height and they don't have height right now. So yeah, you gotta give them a B. Can't give everyone a B.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next up, we got the Cavs. Ron Polinsky, he retains Yoel Schreier from his team last year, and Zeke Rosenblatt. They are together every single season, and I think this is an okay team. I'm leaning towards B+. What about you?
I think I couldn't disagree with you more. I think there are 4 teams here that dove, that took L's through the league, so that teams like the Pistons and the Knicks and the Kings could exist, and this is one of the teams. And are they in my comp? They're not. Okay, so I could talk smack. I'm not going to see them until the finals, and they're not going to make the finals. So I think first off,
I think 6 of the. I think
apparently I heard a rumor that they could have had Mike Herman, and they went with Zeke Rosenblatt. Well, we already saw that Zeke Rosenblatt got a first round and out last year. Why not take a ride for Herman, who's friends with Fuhrer? Now you got Fuhrer, for Herman, and Schreier. That's a top tier big 3. Fuhrer was already proven, and I spoke to him, so I feel comfortable saying this on the pod. He's already kind of shown last year that as a go-to option, it's not where you want him to be necessarily. Now Schreier is the Zebo. He has the heart. He has the grit. He's going to win you games. I just don't think this team has enough. Ellie Greenberg. I like Ellie Greenberg a lot. He's got heart.
I think 6 of these guys, 6 of the 7 guys here, have basketball experience, have been on their high school teams, and I don't think that's something that's so common in this league.
You're right. And maybe they'll win some games. This is team grit, right? They got Ellie Greenberg, who's a dog, Fuhrer, a dog, Schreier, a beast, Polinsky, Benji Klein, a dog. I just, maybe I could be dead wrong, and this could be my Spurs moment where they like.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a championship team, but I think this is one of the better teams I've seen Polinsky draft in recent years.
I just think there's a myriad of guys that you could probably leave open. I don't know. Maybe we'll agree to disagree. I think this team. I don't think they fit. I think if you look on paper, yeah, they're good. Benji Klein, he's great. Ellie Greenberg, I wanted him. He's a dog. John Fuhrer, a scorer. Rami Polinsky, a shooter. Zeke Rosenblatt, there's chemistry. Yoel Schreier, a beast. Zach Greenberg, he's a good locker room guy. I think on paper they make sense, but at the end of the day, this isn't 2K. Like, who's getting the ball to Schreier and I guess Klein could. Yeah, Klein could. That's fine. I'm not sure how the fit is. That's what I see to it. I could be dead wrong. I was dead wrong about the Spurs losing to the Sixers last year, and they almost beat us. So I've been wrong. I'm not a fan on how this team is necessarily constructed. I think when you could have had Zevi Samit, or you could have had Hammy Alexander, you could have had really.
I mean, look, it's a fair point. Just because you put together guys on a team and they all have basketball experience doesn't mean that you all put them out on a court at the same time that they're going to gel.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, so it seems like you're leaning towards an incomplete here.
No, it's not an incomplete. I gave it a D.
Oh, you give it a D. Okay,
you got Yoel and you got Fuhrer and you got good players in Benji Klein, Ellie Greenberg. Man, he's not going to shake my hand on Shabbos, but it's all right. Zeke Rosenblatt. I mean, these are all basketball players, and in this league, in this season, if you could put 5 guys on the court who could play, that's a positive. So maybe they'll win. They will definitely win some games based on that. But I just look at it. I just don't see them as a team that has a shot at making the finals.
I agree there. I'm not going to stop you there. All right, so I think that's our first real big disagreement. Moving on next, we're going to talk about the Celtics. Yoni Levine's squad.
A-.
Yoni Levine was a captain a few years ago. Now he's back. What did you say?
I said A+, and then I retracted to an A-. I love this team. Love this team. If I could be put on any team other than my own that I could be traded to or just play with singularly, it'd be this team. You have shooting, length, defense, IQ, former max, hustle. Like, look at this. Josh Chestnut, we know about him. Long, lefty, good shooter. Moshe Cohen, you guys may not know him, but he's from LA. He's going to be a DPOY candidate. He's like Eric Lifshitz with the 3-point shot. R.A. Halper, we know about him, right? Great shooter, great defender. Yoni Levine, a DPOY candidate, right? Svi Rotblatt's a center. Eitan Sullivan's a great point guard. If he's your 5th guy, Eitan Sullivan, I don't care what age, he started for YU. This is a really good team. The only knock, they need big nights from R.A. Halper, and they need big nights from Chesner or big nights from Sullivan. They need those 3 guys to put the ball in the basket. Like, none of them are traditional tier 1. I'm putting the team on my back. Nothing's falling today.
Right. And that could be a mark against
them. I'm scoring the ball, right? And
Yoni Levine could be that guy, I think.
Yoni Levine?
I think so.
Could be the guy that says,
when my team played the Lakers,
hitting, I'm putting the team on my back.
When my team played the Blazers last year, he was on that team and we were up by like 30 and he was part of that big rally.
Yeah, he was, but Jordan Hode was the guy who put the team on his back. He got Levine the shots. Like Jordan Hode was the guy who got in the paint and dished.
Listen, I agree with what you're saying.
Maybe, yeah, Levine could be that guy, sure, but someone on this team has to be, and maybe he could switch. It could be Halper, but they'll need it. They're going to be really tough. What were you saying, Oren? I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, no, it's all good. But I kind of hear what you're saying. I feel like when you look at this team at first glance, you're not so wowed. But then, like, over time, like, you're seeing it more and more, and then you're thinking like, oh, this could work. This could really work.
I look at them and I say they have 4 guys, right? Those top 4 who could lock up, who are lockdown defenders, could hit open threes, and will be tough to score on. And they have 4 of them. And then they got Svi Rotblatt, who's a traditional center, which is rare, and Nathan Sullivan, a traditional point guard. That's really good, man. You got a point, a center, and four guys that could just 3-and-D. They're built like the actual Celtics. They have their Marcus Smart and their Malcolm Brogdon and their Derek White, and they don't have their Tatum per se. But they're like the Celtics. Like I feel like R.A. Halper would and Chesney would be like Tatum and Brown when they went to that Eastern Conference Finals when they were younger, where they're like capable of doing it, but they really need to do it to score that 20. R.A. Halper definitely could, and Josh Chesner definitely could. But I think like this team is one of my favorite teams. For them to win the championship, like last year in both, there were the games versus the Lakers where, or the game versus when Hammy played the Heat, where he was just like, I got to put the team on my back. It's time for me to start scoring. Right. There's going to be games where he gets stuck and it gets tough to score. And the team has your scouting information and they have your number. Who's going to be that guy that steps up? And maybe that's an old way of thinking. But in terms of like pure basketball, I love this team. It's built perfectly. Kudos to Yoni Levine for drafting what I think is the quintessential basketball team.
So you said A-, right?
A-, A+ for the draft job. A- only because
you're still waiting to see who that.
We got to see. If Ari Halper comes out, he's like, no, Jack, I'm that guy, and he is that guy. He could be that guy on any given night. Can he be that guy on every night? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like the game's on the line, down by 2, you need a bucket. Whose ball is it? Whose hands is it going into? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they don't have.
You need that alpha dog.
Who's the alpha dog? I know that's a dumb saying, and it kind of seems overrated. And
maybe for the regular season, but for the playoffs, I think you have a valid point.
You knew it is overrated, but
because these playoff games get close, they get tight.
It's tight. You need an alpha, but this team could very well win it all. They're great. I love this team. And my favorite team, the team that I would like in terms of just 3-and-D guys. Like, wow, what a good team.
Yeah. And the average age too. I like. You got experience, you got youth. It's a good middle ground there.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. We're going to shift our focus now to the Western Conference. We're going to talk about the Clippers, Akiva Gottlieb's team. Akiva Gottlieb reached the finals last year where he lost to your Hawks. He's back now. He retained Charlie Benheim and added a superstar, Mason Wedgel. What are your thoughts?
Well, all right. This isn't a fair one for me to speak on because I didn't get a chance to play against Benheim. And I don't know Eliezer Mendel, and I don't know Amir Gavrin. Or Abner Baruch. I don't know his team, so I don't want to speak too out of turn here. I know that him and Mason are great. So they're essentially what you know what I like them. I think they're also. What's your rating? Let's hear your take, Oren, first, and then I'll say mine.
I think it's a TBD. I think, like you said, there's a lot that's unknown. Amir Gavrin, I remember him being a hockey player in high school. But I've heard he's a really good defender.
Right.
Halpert, we obviously know. Benheim's a solid role player. Avner Baruch, he's a newbie. I know he messages the Instagram account a lot. People don't really know who he is, but maybe we'll be surprised. Ellie Mandel, I want to say that he go to DRS. I'm not sure if I have that right. And Wedgel's a stud. So basically, I think in my opinion, I don't think you even have a big three here. I think you just have a 1-2 punch of Gottlieb and Wedgel.
So, like, my problem with they don't have size, and they do have 2 scorers, but do they have enough shooting to prevent teams from going, we're just going to go zone and not let those 2 guys go 1-on-1? I mean, if they played we haven't gone.
They do play in the easier conference, in my opinion.
But the West, that's true. They do play. I think the East with the Celtics and the Pistons and the Knicks. Sometimes and the Magic, who I like a lot. I mean, wow, I like the Magic a lot. And I mean, but the West isn't a joke. I mean, when they play the Warriors, and
I guess my question just is: do you have these guys in the top half or the bottom half?
I have him right at the middle of the pack. I know he'll be upset, but you just got to take this as I don't know your team, man. I don't know Amir Gavin. I don't really know Benheim. They're very top heavy, but they have to go into every game understanding that every team is going to focus on those two.
We
And they're
know
going to,
Benheim is an announcer.
huh?
We know Benheim is an announcer. He had you
Yeah.
on. He had you
Look,
in the booth a
I
lot.
just don't know. Like Rough Halpert's great. I wanted him. He's someone I want to play with. He could hit open threes. So if they have guys who can hit open threes, they'll be good because teams are really going to focus on those two.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
obviously,
like you, Akiva's a great defender, but I still think I worry about this team a little bit on the defensive side of the ball.
you're worrying about their defense, and I'm worrying about their offense, how they would go against schemes that try to focus on those two, especially with the fact that that conference is going to be used to two-man schemes because there's a lot of two-man teams in that conference, and we'll get to more later.
And they'll
Uh,
be so focused on Wedgel, you have no idea.
yeah, look, I give they're middle of the pack for me. They're middle
All
of the
right,
pack.
so I'll give them a B.
I'll give them a B minus.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna go back to the East.
I just think they went with a 1-2 punch thing, and they're not the best 1-2 punch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
No, I think maybe you have better tandems. I mean, we'll have to see how the rest of these teams look. I mean, like the Reinhardt brothers are good 1-2
No, the
punch.
best 1-2 punch is Dan and Zevi. I don't think that's a
Right.
question.
I mean, we'll get to that, but I have some qualms there. I do, but we'll wait. We'll wait.
Yeah.
Until we get there.
The Clippers could shock it, but it really depends on how well. Look, Mason and Gottlieb can't do it all by themselves. They're going to need to get the other teammates involved. Can their teammates knock down shots? And can Gottlieb and can Wedgel get the teammates involved? At the end of the day, like what went wrong with Mason last year was people would zone in on him, and he just either they didn't knock down shots or they just couldn't help him. Right? Do they
Right.
have enough? I don't know. We'll see.
And with that team, you had Brian Shore and Donnie Kalimnik.
And Braun and
Brom,
Schneider.
yeah. You had more knowns there. There was a lot
All right.
unknown there.
The
Like you
Heat.
said. Like
I
you
like.
said.
I like
I think Justin Hood, I think, hit a home run here.
home run is an A for me. Look, Justin's been tinkering with this lineup with these group of guys for a long time. 2 years ago he had me and R.A. Halpert and Yaron. Last year he had R.A. Halpert, Tuckman, and Yaron. He brought him back,
No,
but
Yaron was with Donnie last year, if I recall.
oh right, that's right. He didn't get Yaron. He brought Yaron back, and he has Tuckman. And what he got here was he's able to put 5 guys on the court at all times who could score. I think that's like really valuable. Now they're big and they have a lot of size. I think that's going
Yeah,
to give a lot of
I guess the
problems.
biggest question mark going in is how healthy will Mikey Mitnick be?
That is a question. Obviously, considering his age, that's something you need to think about. But let's
Well, that's
think.
nothing to do with the age, frankly. I just think last year he was MIA a little bit.
Well, he'll have to get in the gym. But the good news with Mikey Mitnick is last year he was probably asked to do a lot on that team with
Heidemann.
Heidemann and Stevie. And
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to do as much offensively for sure with Tuckman and Hode and Yaron, who's in great shape, and
Yeah.
Rimper.
You have a lot more assassins on this team.
He could just be a role guy to make layups, hit open threes, protect the rim. This team, they got guys who could make shots. They got a lot of size. I think the one thing they don't have is a point guard. I don't know if there are point guards on the board. I've yet to see Justin play with a traditional point guard, which I think would be helpful for him just to get guys shots in the spots. But I think in terms of like who was available and what they had, Justin gets an A for this one. He's got a lot of size. They're going to be tough. They're going to be big. They're going to crash. A lot of these other teams don't have size. At the end of the day, who won 2 years ago Vegas Gold? Why? They had Burry, they had Rafi, and they had Engelmeyer. Well, that's a lot of size. Last year,
No. Burry was on the losing end of that.
Oh, sorry. They had Rafi, they had Engelmeyer, and they had size. That's Rafi.
Yeah. It was Engelmeyer, Rafi,
Schechter,
Deep.
size.
Yeah.
We won last year. What did we have? Me, the Reinhardts, Gore, like guys who could rebound, defend, switch. They have that. So they got to hit shots. Hats off to Justin. We'll see how it fits.
Let me choose my words carefully here. This team can be among the final 4.
Yeah, and they also could be a first round and out. It really depends on how they click. Now, will it be too much size? Is there not enough spacing? Will Justin not be able to get to the rim? Will it this slow down pace? Will the pacing not work? It could either be a match made in heaven or a match made in hell. It could either be a disaster or great. It's not so sure. Like it's not like the Celtics where I look at that and go, that fits together like a beautiful puzzle. It's like a Monopoly board. So maybe I shouldn't give them an A if I gave the Celtics an A minus. I'll give them a B plus. Maybe I'll move the Celtics to an A plus. I'll move this team to an A minus. And just because I just don't know how the pieces fit on the puzzle necessarily, though I do really like the pieces. Like I know I like what we have here. But it's not polished together like a painting. Like the Celtics, it could either be a Final Four or a championship team, luck of the draw, or it could be a really good first round and out.
Yeah. Well, we'll know in a few short months. All right. Now we're going to go back to the West. We've discussed already 5 East teams and only 2 West teams. Donnie Kalimnik. This is a very interesting squad.
So
I'll let you take it from here.
You could go ahead if you want, but this team is so I'll give Donnie Kalimnik an A. And a lot of people consider this team the top team in the West. I think we are. I'm not afraid of this team, but I'm not afraid of any team really. But this team it could go either one of 2 ways.
So you think he did a much better job this season than the last season?
He did. Right
you think
now,
he really did his homework here?
Well, look, it could go one of 2 ways. And it really depends on the health of Simon Brookim. He's the 5th greatest Valley Tour player ever. He's behind Ryan, Aaron Lieberman, Dan Amuchas in any order. Simon's 5. It's not even a question. He played for YU, and he was excellent. He graduated in 2011. I played with him in the Yeshiva League Legends Tournament 3 years in a row. The first year, this was 2017, I think, he was unstoppable. And we played against Idacron and Ori. I think Ori remembers from then. He was unstoppable, an unstoppable scorer.
And now he's teammates with Ori.
The next year, he was really good. And then year 3, could it be that he took a back seat because we had Ryan that year? Maybe, but I know that he didn't play until the playoffs. And look, I think this was 2019. Did he stay in shape? Did he stay in the gym? Now, if he stayed in the gym and he stayed in shape, this team is unbelievable. They don't have size, but they have toughness. They have Malka and Lifshitz. I mean, that's as tough, and Ori, obviously. That's as tough as it gets. They have shooting and Simon and Kalimnik. They're definitely going to be someone to be reckoned with, for sure. They're going to win a bunch of games. But
yeah.
Whether or not they're a championship team or a team that is like the Spurs last year, that they're tough, they win a series or 2. They take they take a team like the Kings or the Warriors or a team that could win it all to the brink of extinction, or a team that wins it at the end, is going to be how good Simon is. And we'll see. I know I want to play Simon just because I got that. Anytime I have a chance to play a Valley Tour legend or a Eula legend, every time I play Jack Indy, I lick my fingers. I want to play that guy. Like I want to play that guy. Every time I play a Simon Brookim, Dovey Hoffman. So I really want to play this team, and we will get the chance to. So I'm excited for it. So I'll give an A to Donnie Kalimnik. Taking Ori Schwartz at 4 was a risk, but I think he overall he put a really nice team together.
I'll give this team an A, but I think I worry about them the same way I would worry about the Celtics come playoff time. Does that make sense to you?
But they don't have a go-to?
Yeah.
No, because they do. And that's Simon, clear alpha, and Ori, clear number 2. And but the problem, Malka is a good scorer. Lifshitz is your defender. Kalimnik's your shooter. The problem is they could also be a disaster if Ori gets hurt, which is a possibility, or Simon is just too old. 35, 34, 33.
Yeah.
He graduated in 2011. He's 33, 34, has kids. Is Simon too old? Just the moves are there, but the speed isn't. Like
Right.
that would make them that would give them problems. because Ori is best served as a distributor and shooter and driver if you surround him with great pieces like Hammy and Gottlieb and Rosen and Benheim. Now Ori is invaluable. And Malka's a really good piece. And you know what my feelings on Lifshitz. I don't know the other two, Ottenstein or Glick. And Kalimnik's a great shooter. He's like a Rosen. So that's
Glick, I want to say went to JEC, but I'm not 100% sure.
Listen, it's a good piece. It really depends on the health of Ori and the age of Simon. If they're both in tip-top shape and dog, this team's going to be great. If they're bad, this team's going to be bad. And if they're normal or like what we expect, they could be a second rounder. So I give them an A. They're certainly, I have them ranked. Where do I have them ranked in my draft? They're in the, what team is it?
The Jazz.
Yeah, they're in the top tier. I have them in my top tier rankings.
Honestly, maybe if you put
maybe I don't give I can't give them an A.
If you put them in the East, maybe they're further
I can't give
down.
them an A. I can't give an A to a team. I know the orders, so I'm not going to say it, but I feel like there were guys on the board that I don't know. So
I'd say B. I'd say B.
An A for how he put the team together. Let's give him an A. I'm going to be nice here, and then we'll let you be the mean one when the paper comes out.
I mean, I've been very generous to Donnie because I think a lot of people were scratching their heads after Donnie, but this was his second draft, so he was a lot more prepared this year, I'm going to assume.
All right, let's move on.
And I'll give a quick shout out to Ori because Ori's very happy that we're incorporating personal fouls this season.
That's good. That's smart. Because foul trouble shit is a part of the game.
Yeah. All right, to your Kings. We could talk less about the grade and more about how excited you are to be playing with this group of guys, Jack.
Look, I give Burry an A+. I think Burry does his research. I think he is a much better at these intangible things as a captain than I ever would have been. This is why I don't want to be a captain. I don't want to be the kind of guy that goes, you know what we're missing right now? A point guard. And the point guards are going to go unless I trade pick 123 and 46 and to get 54 so I could get the and all of a sudden you blink and our top four is better than any top four in this league, in my opinion, or as good. I mean, obviously, maybe, depends how good Boozy is, right? But I like our four. Our four are great. And Kadok could hit a shot. So really the key to this team is how do we gel? Do they gel? How do me and Burry fit? How do we gel? They're certainly got youth and they certainly got age, right? Are they going to play more towards the youth, towards the age? How do they gel? I mean, we know Josh Klein's a stud. We know Burry Klein and what he does. We don't know Mizels, so we'll see what happens with that. And we know Kadok can hit an open shot, which will be valuable. But it really all depends on how this team gels and how they defend.
You think Burry still drafts you at 3 if you don't win the championship last year?
If he's smart, he drafts me at 3. But I won the championship last year, so that's not a discussion.
True.
No, I think if Zevi Samet wins the championship last year, he goes 1. But the fact that he should go 1 because
it's just two of the 3 top picks were from the Hawks last year.
Yeah, but I think Jack Reinhardt goes 1 to Maddie no matter
more
what.
For sentimental reasons and basketball reasons.
They're playing to play with each other, and Jack's a good player. Jack's stock certainly went up last year, and so did mine, and so did Lifshitz, and so did Gore's, and so did Sammy Nat, and so did Matt Reinhardt's. All their stock went up, right? Lifshitz was end of the draft last year. In this draft, he's like considered a valuable piece to a championship contender. Sammy Nat, same thing, right? He was a throw in at the end. Considered he's the 3rd crown on a championship the 3rd jewel on a championship piece right now. Look, I think I deserve to go 3. I thought in my rankings I had myself number 2. Now, am I arrogant? That's part of it. But do I need to come into tip-top shape in order to fill that? Yeah. If I don't, then I may as well be 10th. But if I do, I think I'm 1, 2, or 3. I think I'm 2. I don't think I'm better than Zevi. It's the one guy that he's the guy.
I'll just quickly add that Josh Klein was part of that team that Isaac Merwis and I assembled last year for the Lakers. I think you're getting a great teammate in him.
No, Josh Klein's great, and I play with him a lot, and he could put it on the floor, and he could assist, and he's a great character guy, and he's an excellent shooter. What we want with this team is we don't want teams to be able to play zone. And then we want to be able to go against a man, have a guy we could run pick and rolls with, or post up on ISOs. And if you double down, then we're hitting the open man. And I really think Burry did a good job of that. Like, if you go zone, you got shooters all around and around Burry and me, Mizell's, Klein, and Kadok, right? And you got apparently these two guys are good hustle guys off the bench. You always could use that. And then if you go man, you have to worry about me in a post ISO. But if you have a Stevie Paul or a Langer who wouldn't mind that, first off, I have the face up there, or we could start running a pick and roll with Mizell's, who's a good traditional point guard. So we have a really nice team. We'll see how we gel.
Yeah.
I'll let you rate us. I'm not going to rate us.
The thing is, I always give Burry a non-flattering draft grade, and then he shows me up once the season starts. So
Do it again this year. Give your
no,
honest thought.
I'll give him an A-.
All right. What do you think
Yeah.
is missing on the Kings?
No, I think he was totally right to pick you. I really do. I can totally see that partnership working out. I guess, and not to put any pressure on Josh, but I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to really take his game to the next level with this group.
Yeah, I agree.
When he was with me and Isaac, we had too much star power that, like, if Josh had an off night, it wasn't going to affect us. If Josh has an off night with this group, I don't think you guys could lose a lot or a few.
True, but yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I think and I'll text Josh just to let him know in on some secrets why doesn't have to worry about that. But I do see where you're coming from.
No, Burry's gonna
where Herman. I don't know how I didn't know Herman. Herman would have been interesting in that pick, but you know what you're getting with Josh Klein. I'm a big fan of his, so
yeah.
I'm very happy to be playing with him.
Speaking of Herman, we're now going to talk about the Knickerbockers. Jason Langer, great high school player. He was 2 years above me at Frisch. He's playing in the league now for the first time, and first time as a captain, no less. It looks like he drafted some guys who he has familiarity with. What are you thinking here when looking at the squad?
Well, it's an A+, right? He got his boy Mike Herman, who's apparently great. He's certainly got size. He's a very good looking guy, and he could certainly shoot the ball. He kind of plays the wing. Certainly a stud. And Eli Boosie apparently played for FDU's practice squad. So you have Langer, Herman, and Boosie. That might be the toughest top three just in terms of their size, because Langer's big. And if Boosie's really that good, then we're in trouble. The rest of the league's in trouble. And Ami Gersberg is decent. And then, so you can't really sag. To scout for this team will be tough. I think they're going to be this year's T-Wolves. I think they're going to really be good. There's just going to need to be a team that has the way to beat them is just to scout them out, make it sloppy, give them length, make them uncomfortable. I mean, we beat the Wolves because we had 5 games of tape and 3 basketball.
Thanks to my Instagram.
Well, I think aren't we filming every game?
Jacob Levy, if you're listening, you need to respond to that.
I think we should. And if the way to beat him is just to go through the tape and say, all right, what do we need to take away? How do we make these guys uncomfortable? This is a team you're going to need to scout for them to beat. They're tough. They're good. A+.
So let me ask you this question.
They're old too. So maybe that could be a weakness, but I just played against Langer last week and he put 27 on me. So I can't say anything about Langer.
No, but this is my question. I know anywhere you play basketball. But do you think there's sometimes an advantage when you played in this particular league before in the past, and when you're playing in this league for the first time, there's some things you need to learn even when you play basketball in other areas, or it's all one and the same? What's your thought on that?
I'm not sure what the question is.
No, I feel like there's
I'll give you my answer. Yeah.
I feel like there's a real rookie team here, even though they're good players on this roster, clearly.
I think year 1 to year 2 is important because knowing who to guard and knowing what to do to stop the other guy obviously is an advantage. But year 1, my first year, You had a lot of year one guys and Engelmeyer and oh man, that team also had Chesner. That was a good team. And Dietz was on that team. That was a stacked team. Well, Jack Reinhardt was year one last year. He was great. But then again, he had me and Maddie, and we had scouts on guys, and he knew the guys. But I don't think it's going to affect this team. It really depends on, is Herman and Boosie really as good as they say they are? And if they are, this is my second favorite. This is number 2 favorite. They're going to have to go through the Pistons, but they're good.
All right, A-, B+ for me.
Why B plus?
Just because I feel like there's a lot of
No experience.
I feel like there could be some uncertainty here, so that's
Okay.
why.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Back to the West, the Lakers. I actually told you before we went live that I thought this was a team that drafted well. You said you don't see it so much, so I'd love to hear your perspective here.
First of all, this is a team I was having a love affair with Rami Leifer before the Fed. I love Rami. Think he's super smart, great basketball mind,
Great leader.
guy. Love him. And I love the Lakers. And this was the team I thought I was going to. And so I gave Rami a whole chart of all his picks and who we should take and how we should. And he has some guys on this team that were guys I was like, oh, this is a guy that's going to go late that could give you this X, Y, and Z. And he took him. He took Yechiel Tannenbaum, who most people didn't know. He's a big. He's about 6'2", 6'3", gives hustle, could rebound, could hit it open mid-range J, could block a shot, can guard a big. And he went late where there's teams like that are on here that we went through that don't have any size that could have taken him and been like, well, if we have to face Mitnick and Moskovich, at least he's a body we could throw. I like this team. It's a lot on Hammy.
What was a lot on Hammy last year?
Hammy had a Gottlieb, Rosen, and Schwartz.
Yeah, but he was still the big.
Hammy was the guy last year for sure, but I mean, Gottlieb had 30 points against the Heat. Or Schwartz had games where he went off.
Yeah.
Rosen had a 6-3 playoff game. We're 6-3s. I don't know if this team has that, but there's certainly a contender. Especially if they could click.
Yeah.
Held's good, Brum's good, Hammy's good.
I just think any team that's led by Rami Leifer
goes
far. I can't remember the last time Rami didn't win a first round playoff game at the very least.
No, he's gonna win a first rounder. And this team's gonna go far. They might make the Final Four. They are in the West, so I mean, it was smart to pick Yechiel because you're in the West. You're gonna have to face me and Burry at one point, and you're gonna have to face Stevie and Tripp at one point. So if you really don't have two bigs to throw, you're gonna have trouble on the glass.
And Yitzi Weiss is one of those players under the radar that people just don't know about. He was class of 2020 at TABC. He was on that varsity basketball team that made it all the way to the championship with Zevi Samet, and then they got shut down due to COVID. He started.
So if Yitzi Weiss is that guy,
and he's not particularly big, but he doesn't fear anyone. He can play against bigger guys.
So if Yitzi Weiss is that kind of dude, then this team is a lot better than I thought. Then I didn't know that. I just see Yitzi Weiss. Exactly. I didn't know him. So I'll up my grade. This is definitely on the top tier of teams.
Yeah. We're gonna go back to the East now. We're gonna talk JJ Zackheim. He filled in a lot as a sub last year. He is back in the league as a captain.
Love what he did in his team. I know for a fact. So JJ plays on my Zion team with me, Gartenberg, the Mitnicks, Heidemann, and it's me, Gartenberg, JJ, Heidemann, and both Mitnicks. It's us 6. And so there's existing chemistry between all of us already. And that's why you notice Ari Mitnick taking Heidemann. Is he knows Heidemann, he knows how to play with him. That was smart. JJ and Gartenberg click so well together as you can't go man against this team. Can't. So throw that out of the gym because JJ's too good in a one-on-one and Gartenberg's too good of a roller. So if you were thinking about playing man-to-man against this team, they're going to score on you every time. They just are. JJ's that kind of downhill with Gartenberg rolling. That's unstoppable with Dietz on the kick out if you double. Well, now that's a great top 3. And now you got Dietz, Gartenberg, JJ. All right. Now, what if Ben Zerman shows up? I think that's the biggest question. If Benjamin Zerman shows up and is good, this team is a contender, in my opinion. I have this team ranked.
I think I would put them in the top half of the East.
I have this team ranked 4 on my rankings. The
I was
fourth
thinking
best
top
job.
4. I was thinking top 4.
No, they're my 4th best job drafting, 3rd team in the East behind my already stated Knicks and Pistons, but they could certainly beat either of those teams, right? Especially if it gets to an up and down fast game. Like JJ's super fast. If Gartenberg's super fast, Zerman is fast.
Gartenberg didn't have a great season last year, but maybe it was just a one-off.
You're putting him with no point guard. So how's he going to get the ball? And secondly, you're clogging the paint with Glickman, and he's not a shooter. So to play with Gartenberg, it's like putting DeAndre Jordan without a point guard and with no spacing. What are you going to do with that, with DeAndre Jordan without spacing and without a point guard? You're putting Shaq with DeAndre Jordan.
Right. So it was clearly, it most likely was a one-off.
Yeah, he's great. I'm a big fan of him, and he's a really nice guy.
He just didn't fit in. He didn't fit in playoffs offense.
Of shoot. Well, you're saying the guards on that team were Polioff, Gelby, Kadok. Like, who's getting him the ball? I guess
Ami Gertzberg.
Gertzberg's not he's more like who's the guy who backs up Ja? Trey Jones. He's like more of a defensive point. Like, he's not a pick and roll. Let me see who I could feed.
No, and I think you have better facilitators here in Zach Keim and Dietz.
And Dietz. It's a good team. A plus. I like Yisrael Tannenbaum. Apparently he's a good hustle guy, and we'll see what this team's made of.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think the biggest question mark is on Ben Zerman. What type of Ben Zerman will we see this year?
If he never shows up, then it was a wasted pick, and he probably should have gotten someone else. And if he shows up and he's good, this team's a title contender.
Yeah,
no question about it.
He's probably he could be make it or break it for the squad for sure.
Well, if he doesn't show up, they're still very good. If he does show up, they're excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Mavericks.
The Mavs. Okay, this was Yoav Deutsch's first season as a captain, first year drafting. I think he did okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I certainly like this team.
Turner and Lipner together?
Who?
Turner and Lipner together?
They're certainly going to do well. They're certainly going to be good. I do worry. I have this team, I'll tell you, also like kind of with the Clippers and the Bulls in terms of like there's some question marks. Like, I think they're good. Yeah, I have them on that ranking. There's certainly question marks. And those question marks are, let me just pull this back up. There's a lot of guys that he played with, like Deutsch and Gov played together.
Gov was the best player on that Pacers team last year.
Yeah, but the Pacers team didn't win a game. Lipner's certainly good.
And Turner was the reason the Kings went out, because he went down.
Well, also Ari Mitnick.
And Ari Mitnick.
Okay, that's like saying, oh yeah, look, Meta World Peace was the reason the Lakers went down when Kobe Bryant also went down. It's
no, I was just trying to point out how big of a contributor Turner was to that.
It's not like Ari Mitnick played and Turner didn't play it. No, that was Ari and Turner. Sammy's excellent. Don't get me wrong. I like this team.
I feel like he's always overlooked in these drafts.
I like this team. I'm gonna see if I got to charge my phone. I'm good. I like this team. They have 2 good defenders. Yoav's good. They're good. They're good. What do you give them?
I think an A, just a regular A.
I'm giving him a B.
All right.
Not very.
You're high on the compliments, but not so high on the grade.
Well, okay, because they're nice, but they're not very tall. Eitan
Gertzberg may be decent with size.
Like, Aronoff can't defend. Goffeld can't defend.
Lipner can help on the glass. So can Turner to an extent.
To an extent. They're good. I don't want to get. I'm gonna get like I have to face them, so I'm not gonna say they're good. It's a good pay. That's a good team.
All right.
They're gonna win some games. They're gonna be good.
Yeah. Now we have the Nets. Jay Schaap. So Jay Schaap's very interesting. Last year was his first year as a captain, and he had a very good regular season. He had Michigan, Trip. They were one of the top teams all season. Then they got upset in the first round to Donnie Kalimnik's Thunder. How do you think he did this year in terms of putting together a team? You got two of my guys last year in Blumenthal and Nolman. Oh, and, no, wrong Klein. I had Benji
I
Klein
gotta
last
say that.
year.
Let me say something about the Mavericks. They're definitely a team I wouldn't want to face. They're good. They're good. They're a really good team.
Okay, so we're
I
still on
just
the.
can't give an A. Maybe I'll bump it up. They're a really good team. I wouldn't want to face them. That's a tough team. The Nets, on the other hand, I don't love it. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is tough.
I think
Nolan last
they
year
don't
had
look
Isaac.
they don't look particularly quick here.
No, they're not well built. No, if you have Johnny Nolan, you need a point guard that could get him the ball, right? Like Merwitz did last year, where he's just running off screens and the point guard could see him
All
and
right,
get it.
who's taking the ball up here with this team? Is it Ellie Cohen or
Joe Klein, and he's fine. He's a really good point guard. He's a really good player, but it's not. I just
I'm thinking B minus.
if I'm coaching against him, hugging Nolman. I have my best defender just hugging him at all time. And I'm just saying he's not scoring today. Your job today, as our defensive guy, and every team has a defensive guy, your job today, make that guy's life hell. And he's coming off having a kid. So, Johnny, here's your chance to get in shape. What shape are you going to come into? Um,
Look, Johnny's a stud. Jay Schaap's a good player, but
Johnny's a stud, but
uh,
how much did he work on his last year in the playoffs? He got taken out
by you.
because Jack Reinhart and Matt Reiner decided we're pushing everything right and we're not letting him get an open shot.
And
And
they're in the tougher they're in the tougher conference, no less.
yeah, that's true. And Jack and Matt are two of the best defensive players in the league. But if any team decides that's what we're doing to Johnny, who's stepping up here? And I look, Blumenthal is one of the toughest guys there is. I would love to play with him. He's a dog. He's great. Jay Schaap is great, but it's just again like
I think what's so ironic about this squad is individually they all look very, very solid, but at the end of the day, they could be in the bottom of the pack.
I think they might be. I don't know. I think I have him ranked at the bottom just because, like, what do we know works with Johnny and Blumenthal? Shoot, point guard, and like a Merwitz type, a
Like a
Merwitz.
Merwitz or a
So,
Hode.
like, if they had a Merwitz or an Alex Kelson to pair, if this team had Alex Kelson, they'd be at number two. They'd be like the Lakers last year, whereas Jay Schaap is what Josh Klein was, and Nolman's Nolman, and Blumenthal's Blumenthal, and Joe is Benji, and Avinat is like Wedgel. And it just looks like your Lakers team last year, but now without Isaac Merwitz. I think that's a big difference. No, it's the exact thing. It's the Lakers team last year. Joe and Benji, similar, right? Jay Schaap and Josh Klein, similar. Johnny, right? Blumenthal, right? Eli Cohen and whoever they had. Eli Cohen and Jacob Wedgel, right? That's a split, right? Now, or Avi Nat and Jacob Wedgel, that's a split. But now you're going, it's Avi Nat versus Isaac Merwitz. I love Avi Nat. I wanted to draft Avi Nat. He's a knockdown shooter, but that's a different kind of player than I think that was the well-oiled machine. I think Jay Schaap was trying to recapture the magic of the Lakers last year, but they're missing the engine. We'll see. That's what it looks like to me.
All right. So what's your grade? Mine was a B minus.
I'll agree with it.
All right. Next, we're going to move back to the West. We're going to talk about the Pelicans. Full disclosure, I'm an advisor to this team. I'm not listed on the roster, but I am an unofficial member of the roster.
Look, I don't know Joey Kalish. I don't know Noah Koretsky, and I didn't get a chance to. Which one's Pinchot?
Rami Pinchot, he was on the Timberwolves team with
Did
Gottlieb
he
last
play
year.
in the finals?
He was out for the playoffs, but he was part of that team that dominated in the regular season.
Right, I never really got to see him. I don't know.
This team, I will say, I don't want to talk too much because it's a conflict for me. This team has the potential to be the best outside shooting team in the league.
So they got Jordan Hode, Weisberg, and shooting. Look,
Gore.
yeah, Gore's great. Gore could get hot and put up 40. It really comes down to this. What shape is Weisberg in? if he's in the shape he was last year, his team will be like what they were last year. Tough out in the first round. If Weisberg comes
But if
in, and
Weisberg can win the battle on the glass, then this team can do some things.
if Weisberg is awesome and he's as good as Langer and he's as good as he can be, which is better than me, better than Langer, as good as anyone, as good as the Mitnicks, just really tough and strong and box out. And now you have to worry about the pick and roll with shooting around. Then this team could win a championship. But if Weisberg comes in and he's not in that shape, this team it'll be much of last year. We've seen this team. It was last year's Blazers, right? You had better role players now, I think, with Gore and Pinchot and some Koritsky. You got some proven guys. It depends on Weisberg.
Yeah, I mean, I think I told our viewers this earlier. We were one pick off from getting Bookbinder, and that definitely would have helped lighten the load for Shlomo. Shlomo's gonna have his work cut out for him,
especially in the West, where you have Tripp and Stevie, you got me and Burry, you got Lipner and Turner. You got some big boys out west. You got some strong down. That's why I was worried a little bit about the Clippers. I also think about
this. Granted, I assembled a team with Isaac Merwis last year, where Akiva Blumenthal was our biggest big, and we got all the way to the semifinals.
Right, but then that was your downfall.
Right.
That he needed to be bigger. I guess a little bit.
Right.
Though he did a really good job.
No, but all I'm saying is there are ways.
We won that game out on.
There are ways to find success without bigs.
No, Blumenthal did a great job. It wasn't on Blumenthal. The reason the Hawks won was because we had you scouted and we just said we're taking away Klein, we're taking away a Nolman, and we're taking away Merwitz. We just had tape of you guys, and we knew everything Isaac wanted to do, and we knew all his tendencies.
Yeah, that was my fault.
Lift shits and we had the T-Wolves game and round 1 and round 2, right? So we had 3 games of tape to really study. So we knew all the tendencies. So we were just like, all right, we know when he does this, he wants to do that. And when this happens, he wants to do that. So we're just going to take that away and make him adjust. And it was an ugly game. At the end of it, it came down to like who had the guy who said, give me the ball, I'm going to score. And, we weren't scouted. And so we were able to get to our stuff. Anyway, I think this team is good.
What's your grade?
What's your grade?
It's my team, but
look, Isaac Gore is great, and he's gonna play great. I mean, he's got size. He could rebound, and he could light it up.
Again, what
B plus? This team is B plus for me.
What team did I do the A- B plus with before? I did it with another team, right?
This team's a B plus for me.
Yeah, all right. I'll go B plus.
All right. Pistons, obviously A plus.
Everyone who I've spoken to thinks this is the team to beat.
Look, Ari Mitnick and Moskovich is the toughest 2 big men to play. Aaron Heidemann is arguably the best defensive guard and the fastest guard. So if you want to get on the break.
Alex Ostrom was a good high school player.
And Ostrom, all right. I mean, that's already they have one of the top big threes. Right? And so now if Ostrom's a stud, I got to move this inside because my laptop's dying. If Ostrom's a stud, now you're just playing with house money. And we know Shrulowitz can walk and chew gum. He's more than that. He can post up and hit threes. So, yeah, this team's great.
Blau is one of the better late round picks.
What does Blau do?
He knows his role, I
don't know what that means.
He was
on your role too. That doesn't mean that you're it doesn't
but he was on that Pacers team last year, and there was not many positives to draw from that team, but he would get rebounds, he would make the right pass, he would make the basic shots, he would get to the line. That's what you want with these late round picks,
Someone who can do something.
Yeah. And he does things. He produced, at least for that. Well, anyone could produce for that Pacers team last year, but he did it, And Geltuck, look, he probably has the biggest mouth in this league, but he knows the game of basketball.
No, he's definitely sharp. And Point Gelb is one of my favorite players to play with. Look, does he and Heidemann kill each other? Maybe, actually.
That's my biggest question mark. Is Heidemann? This is Heidemann's first year. This is Heidemann's first year not playing as a captain. Does that bother him, and does he try to take control from time to time?
No, actually, because Aaron Heidemann plays with me, who's the ultimate control guy, and actually he plays really nicely with us. He's really good. I love Aaron Heidemann. I know I had the beef with him last season, and it's funny because I wasn't gonna I didn't he did a Javerium thing for Rachel, was for Rachel, and he was like, "You tell your husband um that I want to play on his Zion team." And then Rachel was like, "Yo, with this guy Aaron, you got to put him on. You got to put him on." And I put him on. He was great. And I was like, I love playing with this guy. What the hell? Because I didn't
He's got a
expect it.
great soft touch, and he's one of the better mid range.
He's an excellent
Right.
mid-range shooter. He's lightning fast. He knows to get to spots where you could pass to him against the zone. He's always in the right spot. He's an excellent defender. He locks up D1 guys. The only thing he's not great against is point guards with a lot of strength and bulk on him because they back him in. But there's really only one guy like that, and that's Kelson. But needless to say, Kelson probably only had 6 points on him, and I was shocked that someone scored 6 points on Heidemann. I'm a huge Heidi fan. Ari Mitnick knows it. Ari knows how to play with him after playing in a season with him now in Zion, where we were undefeated until last week, but we were missing our Mitnick. Um, 1 second. Oh man, I got this thing going on. I like this team a lot. So, and then Moskovich and Ari play together forever. Played together last year. They feel like they left something on the table. They have their Heidemann is their Isaac Leifer replacement, and it's a lot like the team last year. Now let's see what this kid Austrian is.
No, Alex Ostrin, he was on the TABC team. He was a captain of TABC when I was working there. I think uh, Ari asked me about him, and he took the investment on him. So we'll see how that pays off for him.
Oh, they're gonna pay off. This team is really good.
I think this is the team to beat.
Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah. It's unanimous. Every person who I spoke to, everyone who's texted me, I love this team. Ari Mitnick drafted well. Ari Mitnick was a last minute replacement too as a captain. So he really he didn't have
Yeah,
much time to think about this.
good team. It's a good team.
Great team. Great team.
Now this is the most interesting team up next.
Yeah. Maybe Ryan will get drafted to play with the TABC Pistons.
That's funny. We're good.
It was too easy there. All right, Rockets. Okay.
There's only one team.
I want you to go first, okay? Because you talked in the beginning about how Dan Polayoff and Zevi Samit, best 1-2 shooting punch in the league. And I agree with you there. But I still have reservations about this working out.
Oh, yeah, because look, Dan had a great team 2 seasons ago and a terrible team last year. And he said what went well last year, 2 seasons ago?
Joe Amar.
I was with Joe Amar. So let me double down on a shooter who's tall, a shooting stud. This is how I work. But the problem is, I think he just gave up the farm. They clearly have the best 1-2 punch. They do, because Zevi is never played with a player in this league as good as Dan. He hasn't. He hasn't.
No.
So
not on last year's team that he was on.
Not on last year's team and not on the year before. So they have, but the problem is, I think they both of their strengths and both of their weaknesses are the same. Like, I think they're both not, they both don't have like late game clock management. Dan probably a little bit better than Zevi. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they click. They have similar strengths and weaknesses. Their problem is
they both want the ball.
They both want the ball. They both need the ball. And
Dan is used to being top dog on his team. Is he willing to acknowledge the fact that maybe, you're down by 2, 5 seconds left? Who gets the last shot?
Zevi.
Dan's not used to that.
Look, if I were to coach against this team, like, Sammy Nat, he was a good pick. That's the third jewel on this. And what's his name? Walpo is a good big, but they have a competent team with the 2 best players. I think this team is going to be tough.
I disagree.
You think they're going to lose a lot?
I mean, granted, they have one advantage being in the West, but I just think I don't think
You
it's
could
going to
double
work.
team Zavi and single coverage Dan and put a shot blocker, stick him in the paint, and I think your team does well. Like, because Walpole can't shoot, Sammy Net doesn't shoot. Sammy Katz could.
Sammy Nat was on a type of team where the Reinhardts were able to tap his potential, and I'm not sure it's going to happen with this squad.
And me too, because when the point guard would double, he would back cut, and I'd hit him for that pass, and he'd lay it in, right? So but Sammy Nat also needs the ball to be effective.
This is a C+ for me.
He just bet too much on the farm, but at least he has the best player. And the best
He has the best player in the league.
Yeah.
And yet I'm still not high on them. It's crazy.
They could either win the title. This is like what the Heat were for me last year, where I was like, they obviously have the best roster, but what's this fit gonna look like with what's his name? The redhead.
The redhead on
The Heat. It was Zevi and what's his name? Good dude.
Scott Levine.
Scotty. This is Zevi and Scotty and Davidoff. Like I was like, I don't know how it fits. And
Scott missed a lot of games last year. Apparently, he's not playing this year.
Who?
Scott. I don't see him on
Yeah,
the board.
I'm in the same boat with this team. But they're really good. I mean, Dan and Zevi, that's a really good team.
I know. It's ironic for me that I'm giving a C+ to the
I
best.
will never give Zevi Salmon a C+. I will never get it to anyone who takes him a C+. This team was in the top. They were my 5th. They were my 5 seed in my rankings. They're my 5 seed. You have Dan, you have Zavi. It's a proven formula that works. Talk to anyone who played on that team with Joe and Dan. Nobody else shot. So as long as everyone crashes, this is a proven formula that can work with Dan and a type A super duper star shooter. It works. Dan's made it work, so he's gonna make it work.
All right. I think there was.
They're obviously flawed, but
I think when he had that team with Amar, I think when he had that.
Go ahead.
I think when he had that team with Amar 2 years ago, he had better pieces around them.
Yeah, 100%. But I don't know if they utilized them. Like, who else did they have? They had Marcus, and they had Srolowitz, and they had
Matty Reinhardt.
Then Matt Reinhardt, really?
Yeah,
that's kind of a red flag that they didn't win it with that team then. But
right. I forgot who they lost to.
But they didn't
get lost to Vegas Gold, who went on and win the whole thing.
Yeah, but they didn't get. Look, this team, Zevi's better than Joe, so maybe it makes it up, and he's just as good a shooter. It's just this. I think their firepower makes up for the flaws. Like Davis and LeBron, if the other guys could come in and just fit in with Dan and Zevi and make that fit work, this team is winning.
All right, listen, you're right. You can't give a C+ grade to a Zevi Samet team, so I'll push it up to a B.
Okay. I mean, he got Zevi at the 8th pick, and then he managed to get himself in the second.
That still blows my mind that Zevi Samet was the 8th pick in our draft.
Yeah, Lior Hoda is turning in his grave. He was very unhappy. Couldn't believe it.
Lior was unhappy? Why?
Lior Hoda is Zevi Samet, #1 YU player.
Oh, maybe because Justin had a chance to take him?
Justin didn't have a chance to take him.
Oh, okay. So why would he be upset?
No, because it's outrageous. The rest of us are working desk jobs, and Zevi Samet goes 8.
Yeah,
I'm kicking it. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy,
right? I mean, there could have been other.
Mason works in real estate, right? Zevi works in ball right now and learning. It's crazy that Zevi Samet went 8. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, this next team is the one that sacrificed themselves for our sins.
Yeah, this is.
I really think
this is a team where you are probably leaning in the C's.
This is an F for me. I think Shmaryahu Shulman threw the league so that other teams could soar. I don't know what the heck he was thinking. I feel this is a horrendous team. They're not going to win a game.
This year's Pacers, huh?
No, they're worse than the Pacers. No offense to him, but he traded Zevi Samet for Brian Shore and
Brian Shore, who we love. He's a friend of ours.
And Aaron Heller. I love Brian Shore. He's great. He's not Zevi Samet. Sorry, I'm not breaking any news.
I think he would tell you. He would tell you he's not Zevi Samet.
You never trade 2 quarters two 50-cent coins for $1. Four quarters for $1 never works. And then he did the same thing in the second round. Thank you, Shmaryahu Shulman, for us to get a piece that we really like. And he got Jake Goldberg and Daniel Heidemann. Okay. Much rather the piece that we got. I think you never trade down to get Brian Shore. You could have gotten your Brian Shore. He would have been there. He's not getting taken. And I don't know how close you are to Aaron Heller, but he ain't the difference between. Look, it's gonna be a long season for the Suns. Do they have any bigs? No, they're tiny. Do they have any shooting?
Maybe Heller.
Maybe Heller, maybe Heidemann. So they're tiny and they don't have shooting. And do they have any defense? Brian Shore a bit, right?
Yeah,
a little too short to
Rylas can get rebounds.
like Shmar Yahoo's a good defender, but he's not going to be able to guard Jack Reinhart, Like Heller could be.
No, this team
But
falls
who's
short.
their guy to guard?
Yeah,
Stevie Paul. Who's their guy to guard?
you're right. You're right. This team falls short for me. I'm going to give them a D.
It's terrible. It's an F, and it's not close.
Yeah. Well, it's his first year as a captain. Sometimes these things require a little bit of a learning experience. So.
Well, here I wonder if Dan Polioff, who's his captain on his Zion team, just knew what buttons to press to get him to trade 2 picks for Zevi Samit that are like I wouldn't trade Josh Klein and Shlomo Mizels for Zevi Samit. I wouldn't trade myself for Zevi Samit. Like this is
right, but Brian Shore and Oren Heller,
the best player in the league. Like, all right, let's take a team that we already admitted that we really love. Let's take the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
Would you trade Eli Boosie and Mike Herman for Zevi Samit?
It's a hard question to pose to me because I haven't seen these guys play. I just know
all right. Hold on. Let's do another team we like, the Pistons. Right?
Fine.
You're Ari Mitnick, and you're offered Zevi Samit for Aaron Heidemann and David Moskovich. Don't you take it?
Yeah.
You probably do.
Yeah.
You have to think about it because those are 2 really good players. You take it.
Yeah.
And those 2 guys.
Look, Aaron Heller, I know, is a good high school player, but he's never even played in our league before.
He could be a good high school player. Zevi's a great he's going to be an all-time college player. So
I know.
All right. Sorry, Phoenix. Not it this year.
Yeah, all right. Maybe they got to call up Devin Booker and Kevin.
I'm looking forward to you giving me your best punch when you play the Kings, and it's us lighting the beam when we're done with you.
That's great. That's great. All right, so we're in the same camp when it comes to the Suns. A big disappointment. On to the Spurs. Okay, this is Leo Rubin, another new guy in our league. He's going to be a captain for his first year. He went with Spencer Rubenstein with his first pick. I think there are a lot of newbies here who were established high school players. I don't know.
The team has a problem on it, but I don't want to say who. I have too many personal connections to this team, but you go ahead.
I think you again like the. I think it's another Nets. I think you have a lot of solid, but not enough difference makers.
I'm curious to see how they fit. Who's their point guard?
I guess it could be Kazovitz, maybe Evan Chesner.
Evan Chesner's not really a one. You have Ariel Friedman. He's gonna want it. He's gonna go for his. He's gonna try. He's gonna get his. He's gonna shoot it.
Joe Rosen was on that Timberwolves team last year.
Oh, I love Joe Rosen, actually. He's great. He was a real worry for us. We really scouted him. I wanted Joe Rosen. Joe Rosen.
He was he was making some big plays to keep it close for like the beginning of the game, right?
Joe Rosen's awesome. He's like Zach Unger, who plays with me in the Upper West League. Like, I love those kind of guys. I just think the fit's weird. If you take Friedman, you got to have some pieces that work with him. And I'm not 100% sure that these are the pieces that fit, but I could be wrong. I don't know Leo Rubin. I don't know Spencer Rubenstein. So maybe Spencer Rubenstein is a stone cold killer.
Spencer's brother Julius was quite the star at Ramaz. He won a
Like
championship
I
with
think
them for the
Rafi
Spurs.
Mitnick's the type that fits with Friedman. I think I just think and Chesner is a good player. I mean, they're good. I just
I'm
don't think
thinking
I
I'm
think
thinking B, I'm thinking B minus.
I am thinking less. I'm thinking C plus. B
Right.
minus, fine. We'll go B minus. Maybe Spencer's all timer is really, really good, and I don't know him, and that's why I would go that.
Yeah. It's kind of, but looking at this list, your most experienced player in this league is Joe Rosen. Is that necessarily a good thing?
Yeah, I don't. Oh, Chesner is experienced,
Yeah, Chesner, I guess too.
and who's the leader on that team?
Spencer Rubenstein was his top pick. I could see Ariel Friedman trying to inherit that role.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, so
Um,
Ariel Freeman will try to inherit that role, which could be a good move for them. Maybe Freeman. He's a vet, played for SAR. He's a leader. I think that what might be the right move for them to have Ariel Freeman inherit that role.
Look, the best thing that this team has going for them is that they're in the West and not the East.
The East is tough. I mean, the West has some toughness, but definitely some. Uh, I mean, we have the Suns,
Yeah.
so I mean, it just knocks down the.
No, but I think looking at this, I think I have Spurs and Suns at the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, we have two teams that. I mean, it was like the East last year, right? Where we had the Pacers and the Hornets.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
who? Yeah, I
And there
just
was
they
another
don't
one
have
between
shooters.
them,
They
no?
don't. They don't have guys I want to double.
Right. The
Right? You
Sixers
know
are
what I'm
also
saying?
pretty, weren't the Sixers also pretty weak?
They were okay. They were okay.
Yeah.
But it was really Wizards, Hawks, and Raptors and Heat. So like you're top heavy. My question on the Spurs is: you want shooters when you have guys you need to double, and they don't have anyone you want to double. They don't have one guy you want to double. Yeah, we talked about it. This with the Celtics. All right, so I got to go less. I'm definitely going C here. If I say with the Celtics, who has this myriad of amazing teammates, great defense, great character guys, energy, effort, smart, IQ, all that, and I go, well, the one caveat is, do they have a go-to guy that you want to double? And I don't think they do. This team doesn't have that. The guy that you want to double and a go-to scorer, and they don't have those myriad of 3 and D, IQ, smart, pristine, win first guys. This team, yeah,
All right,
they're
I'm gonna move down. I'm gonna
tough
move down.
too, but they're a little bit worse. Like I
Yeah,
like Joe Rosen, I like Evan Chesner, I like Ariel Freeman, but who are we who are we focused on? Who are we worried about? And if it's Spencer Rubenstein, now if it turns out Spencer Rubenstein is like,
he was a good
Ari,
player, Ramos.
no, but if he's Ari Mitnick level or he's, Jack Reinhardt, like he's a really good scorer, then this team makes a little bit more sense. It really depends on how good he is.
I'll move him down to a C plus.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
going to a C.
All right, all right. We only got two more teams to round out the group. The Warriors. Stevie Paul, first year as a captain. I think he did a good job. How
You
about
did a
you?
good job. So I thought you guys completely underrated Trip last season.
Rip and Paul, you got two twin towers there.
The hardest guy for me to score on last year was Jonah Tripp. He did an excellent job guarding me. I still scored, but I really had to go to move 3, 4, and 5 to get a layup. Like I really had to do that. And he's lanky, he's strong, he can make layups, he has a good right drive. And the fact of the matter is, you need two bigs to guard this team.
Yeah.
And
Asaf, Stevie, Wizzo,
wait, it
Tripp,
gets
and
worse. I think
Foreman.
Asaf Miller is a stone cold killer. I think he's one of those guys. If he gets hot, it's over. Look out. He's a get out of the way. I'm hot. He could really actually be an A plus, get you 20 points kind of guy if he gets hot. Like he could be that guy.
It's a
And
good five. Foreman,
and
Miller.
Wizzo was
Assuming
the
this is
first
the five. Foreman, Miller, Paul, Tripp, and Wizzo.
the only yeah. That's an A for me. Stevie did a good job. That's not going to be a fun team to play, but that's a good team.
Yeah.
They're
Um,
a tone setter. They're kind of a tone setter. Like you have to beat the Warriors. Like I am happy that I'm with Burry in a sense that I think we have the infrastructure to guard them because Burry and I could both take Trip and Stevie, like like guard them. And Stevie, listen, so he gave me the business in the playoffs my first year. So I always have high respect for Stevie. I really like Wizzo, obviously. I really like Asaf. I really like Trip. Uh, we'll see what the other guys bring to the table. This is a good team.
Kings Warriors was a good NBA series, so why can't it be a good summer league series?
If we face off, we might not face off because we're going to be 1-2 in the West.
Yeah.
Like this team is going to give trouble. When I look at the other teams, like all right, the Clippers. Well, this team could certainly keep up with scoring. Like, okay, maybe Gottlieb and Wedgel as a 1-2 or two guys that could get 30, but Asaf could give me 20. Wizzo could give me 20. Stevie could give me 20 on any given night. And Trip could give me 10 to 12. But like theoretically, if they're all hitting, I'm saying 16, 16, 14, 16. That keeps up with 30-30, and you're getting it more, and you could, you're going to wear out, a top heavy team. So, they're really doing it across the board. They don't really have a point, but they have smart guys. So I think it'll work.
Do you think when you look at this squad, this could be the most complete team in all areas of the game?
No, I think the Celtics.
I think the Celtics.
Yeah, no, because look, Josh Chesner, Moshe Cohen, Aria Halpert, Yoni Levine, Eitan Sullivan, Svi Raplat. What are you missing?
I know, but I mean, come on.
You're not missing anything.
Trip,
That looks like the Celtics
yes,
look
but,
like
but
a
come on.
Yeshiva League starting
No,
five.
come on. Trip and Stevie together.
Well, you got two bigs. You have two bigs.
You got the point guard in Asaf. You got the shooter.
Asaf's not a point guard. Asaf's not a point guard.
Asaf can be a point guard.
No, he can't. Because he's not looking to distribute. That's a scorer. He's Jaron Smith. He's Lou Williams. He's not looking to pass, and nor should he. If I have Asaf Miller, I'm like, dude, go get hot. Go give me buckets.
You can do both. I think he's more than one dimensional. I disagree.
I'm not saying he's one dimensional. He's a multi-dimensional scorer, but he's not. All right, guys, let's slow it down. I got to control the pace here. He's not like Alex Kelson, Moshe Kelson.
I think. All right, I think he can, but all right, jury's still out.
But then I think you're limiting him. He's J.R. Smith. Like, why would I want J.R. Smith? He's Lou Williams. Like, yeah, Lou Williams. He's more J.R. than Lou. I want J.R. Smith.
All right, so maybe we could agree in this sense. If they're going to win games, Asaf will be the catalyst.
If Asaf gets hot, this team's impossible. You're going to have to take this. I mean, you really have to play against this team. This is a really good team. I think we're the most complete team, if I'm being fully honest. I think we have a point guard. We got a shooting guard. We got a forward. We got a big. We got another shooter. I think we're the most complete team. But, they're up there. We don't have anyone in our starting five that you could leave open. And we don't have anyone in our starting five. Well, that's it, that you could leave open. I think that's valuable.
Mm-hmm. I can say the same about my team, too.
Which one's yours?
Weisberg.
Yeah, that's true, too. No, your team's really good.
Between Gore, Pinshot, Koritsky, and Hode, you really have shooters there.
You can't leave them.
Yeah.
That's a good team.
And now to round out our group of 20, the Wizards, last but not least, Isaac Lafer. So last year, his top pick was Ari Mitnick, and this year his top pick was Rafi Mitnick.
Yeah.
I think he had a much stronger team last year.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't go with Zevi Salmon.
That's a question to ask Isaac.
Him and Rafi are going to be the nastiest defensive backcourt in the thing.
Judah Klein, Burry's brother, solid from what I remember from last year.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot missing here.
I don't know Jacob Siri. I don't know Lichting. I don't know Sweet Claplin. I don't know Aronoff. So I'll leave it to you. But I think if you look at the East, I think I like the Bulls fit a little bit better.
Yeah, my bottom three, looking at this whole list, are the Wizards, the Suns, and the Spurs. And the Suns and Spurs get to play against each other. You would think the Wizards are all alone in the East.
Well, the Cavs. I think the Cavs.
Right. I gave Polinsky a better grade. I gave Polinsky a better grade than you did.
That's true.
The Wizards.
I just like doing it because I like ribbing John Fury. He's a fun guy to kind of get going. But
yeah,
No, I think yeah. If you look at these teams in the East, like the Magic are great. We like what the Heat did. The Bulls will be good.
We love what the Heat did.
We like a lot what the Heat did. Yeah, we like a lot what the Heat did. There's some
Yeah.
question marks, but I like a lot what the Heat did. Magic are great. Celtics are smooth. Knicks and Pistons are two of our favorites. Bulls we
I
know are
think,
good.
yeah, I think we said maybe the second to worst team in the East would be the Nets, and I think the Nets would beat the Wizards handily.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and the Nets are basically the Lakers. They're basically a team that was a title contender last year through and through, just without Isaac Merwitz.
Yeah, listen, I love Isaac Lafer. He's been my neighbor for as long as I can remember. Great defensive player, great captain. I just think he fell short of the mark here.
Yeah, but I think he's a good leader, and Rafi's a good leader, and they're gonna be able to grind out some wins. I think they're gonna slow the game down. I think they're gonna make it messy. I think they're gonna want to grind it out.
All right, sounds to me like you're a lot more generous with the grade, though.
I like those guys. That's why I don't want to be rude. I like the
Oh,
guys.
I like him too. Don't get me wrong.
I like the guys on the Suns too, but there was a guy on that team that I've been asking to have a Shabbos with, and he just keeps ignoring me. So I'm just gonna be honest and open. Just be like, guys, yeah, I'm just gonna be real. Stink.
Brian, you just got
Stink.
called out.
I didn't say anyone's name.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I didn't say anyone's name. Um, so though, yeah, you're right. The Wizards are probably the bottom seed of the East. Now again, last season you
I'm
said
thinking C.
we could be wrong, dude. Like last season you said the Hawks were the eighth seed. They were your eighth pick out of all the teams because you didn't know Lifshitz, you didn't know Nat, you didn't know Gore,
Right.
you didn't know Jack Reinhardt. So
I
you're
didn't
like,
know
I
Gore.
only
No,
know
I knew
Jack.
Jack
And
Reinhardt.
your review was two words, Jack Turell. Either he does great and he goes as far as his team goes, and that really wasn't the case. Like Gore was
No,
huge.
and I listen. I expect to be surprised again this year.
Yeah, so I
Who
think
can be
with but
who can be that team that'll surprise me? I'm not so sure it'll be the Wizards. Maybe the
I don't think
Nets.
it's it could I a, a surprise team would be like I don't know. I think we've been pretty. It could be the Clippers.
Oh, I mean, I was pretty harsh on the Rockets.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not seeing it with the Wizards. I'm giving them a C.
Yeah, so we agree.
Honestly, D.
Oh wow, you're going worse than that. You're going worse than I am.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest here. You have where are they getting their buckets? Right, they're playing in the East. If you're playing the Pistons and Ari and Rafi are neutralizing
Yeah,
each
your
other,
best chance at a win, we think, is playing the Nets.
and if you're going zone against this team, who's hitting threes for you? Like, I just don't think they could score. Like, I think zones will be really hard,
Yeah.
you know? Whereas the Nets are gonna should kill a zone. Yeah, yeah, I don't love this team. I think I'm with you.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
We've been
I
wrong
love Rob.
before. We've been
I
wrong
love Isaac
before.
Leifer. I like all those other guys, but I think just in the East is so stacked. Like when you look at all the other teams.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see the Pistons play the Wizards to see Ari on Rafi, and we think Ari Mitnick's on the best team. We think Rafi Mitnick's on the worst team.
No, I think the Cavs are worse.
Oh, right. You've been pretty harsh on Polinsky.
He's gonna rock me.
I look.
No,
I'm
I
harsh
just
on
don't.
Rami. I'm harsh on
I
Rami
no,
too
I
a
think it's
lot, but
because
I
you
think
could have
I think he had a
because you
good
could have
draft pick
had
this
Mike Herman and Zebi Samit. I think the only reason I ring the
Rami
Cavs,
played with Zevi before, though.
right? So that wouldn't have worked. But you could have had Hami Alexander and Mike Herman and John Fuhrer.
Yoel Schreier played for Rami last year, and
You
it
could
worked.
have had Yoel Schreier, Mike Herman, and John Fuhrer. And now with Ellie Greenberg and Benji Klein, I love your team. All of a sudden, I love it. I just feel like, he had Zeke Rosenblatt last year. They
For
lost.
every season.
Yeah. Didn't they lose in the first round the first year?
They lost. Well, last year they lost to
In the
Zevi
first
in
round.
overtime,
And
right?
the year before, they were dead last. They lost in the first round the year before. And yeah, maybe they're tight, but I just think when you have a chance to take a guy with the upside that Herman has and you don't, you got to get a bad grade from me. Especially when he has a connection to Fuhrer already. There's already chemistry. So all right, Wizards get a D for me.
All right. And that completes our draft review. We still got a whole nother month until officially the season begins. There could be some plot twists. Rumor has it that the jerseys are being ordered Wednesday, so captains could still make trades from now until then if they wanted to.
Really?
Yeah.
I like our team.
Well, looks like you're not going to change anything then.
Now, anyway, that's me, and this is Oren. We'll post it. We'll post it.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in as always. And there's plenty of more where that came from.
The